What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. It is Tottenham against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup 4th round. A chance to advance into the next round, win a trophy. Come on, it's time.
Well,
surely,
we can't win the trophy tomorrow.
surely it's time, man. Surely it's time. It's been too long. 2008, the last time Spurs brought home a trophy. And if we do beat Man City tomorrow, then that's one massive, massive team out the way.
Of course, and that's one of the big boys who have a great record in this competition out the way if we can knock them out tomorrow. If you look back to last season, I think Newcastle knocked them out in a similar stage. And also, I think the City actually played a bit of a stronger team last year, but Newcastle did knock them out, and Newcastle were having a bit of a tough time last season. So there's hope, and obviously if we beat Man City, we're not going to fear anyone for the rest of the competition for sure. So big opportunity tomorrow, especially with City resting players, but look, we're off the back of a defeat against Palace. The feeling around the club at the moment is always, one win and everyone's delighted with how we played, and then we have a power performance. So got to make sure we got that consistency to going into tomorrow. But look, I'm confident, I'm excited what the game's going to be.
Yeah. Got to love a midweek game under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But look, we're going to go into the predicted lineup up first. Ange has been speaking in his press conference, and there's some worrying injury news to talk about. Yeah,
not great news. So Sonny is not going to be, probably not going to be available for tomorrow, he said. He said he's nearly fit. He said they're pretty confident that Son will be fit for the weekend, which is positive news. But the bad news is unlikely to be fit for tomorrow, so looks like he's going to be missing. And very bad news on Odegaard. He said he's had a serious setback from his injury. He said similar area to what kept him out for about best part of a month or over a month after the Coventry game, and they're still waiting for more news on his injury, but he said it looks to be serious. So, not expecting to see Odegaard back for a bit, it looks like. So that's a massive shame. More positive news, Jed Spence is back in training, so it looks like he's available for this game, and everyone else came through unscathed. So, yeah, that's more positive.
Yeah, it's just a shame. It seems to happen this way. Like, the injuries that we do get, they all seem to be in the same area of the pitch. Last year, similar thing happened where we just seem to get blotches of injuries in the same area of the pitch, and now two left wingers in Odegaard and Sonny out injured. Well, potentially Sonny, but two going into this with problems. And also was talking in his press conference about what kind of Spurs team that we're going to see, and he says he's going to manage it in a similar manner. You're going to see a similar team to how he's been managing most midweek fixtures so far. So we're going to make our stab at what we think.
Exactly, which, maybe some people will be unhappy about it. He's just making the argument he needs to have a team physically ready to take on Man City. That's what he's saying. And he said he's going to manage it in, as you say, similar way to how he's played in Europe and the other Carabao Cup. So I think it's fair to say expect some changes.
Yeah, which is not good news for me. I really wanted to see Spurs go really full strength and go really at this game, particularly if you are going to see a weakened Man City team, really impose yourself. But let's see what we have gone for the predicted lineup. In goal, we have gone for Vicario. He's played Forster in 2 midweek games and played Vicario in 2 midweek games so far, but we think in this game it's a massive game Vicario's got to play.
Yeah, and especially with the fact that if it's a draw, it goes directly to penalties, so not an unrealistic chance it does go to penalties, and we know how Forster was with pens. I guess Forster did have a decent game against RZ, so you've got to give him credit, and I know that he played him in the last Carabao Cup game, so there's a chance that he is our cup keeper and he will play, but we're just going to err on the side that it's a big game and Vicario doesn't really need to be rested, so we're going to put Vicario in goal for this one.
In terms of right back, I think Pedro Porro most likely will be given a rest in this one, so we think Archie Gray is going to come out into right back.
Yeah, we're trying to balance this out from who played in Europe last week, who played on the weekend, and try and adjust who we think could start. So obviously Gray did play in Europe, but had a big rest on the weekend. Porro played 90 minutes, so we do think Gray's going to come in. To be fair, Gray has done pretty well, in my opinion, when he's been called upon. Obviously, without Doku playing, no Grealish. Could be Matthias Nunes potentially on the left wing, but he's not much of a left winger. So I think Gray at right back could be okay. So we're going to go with Gray.
Right, centre back, we are going to stick with Kuti Romero. Van der Ven obviously played he didn't play last weekend. Who was the centre backs? It was Davis and Dragoshin in Europe last week.
Oh, good point. It was Davis and Dragoshin. So maybe we'll play Van de Ven.
But for argument's sake, we've gone for Romero.
We've gone for Romero.
We always think, because Van de Ven was in the press conference, we thought
we
he'd play.
completely forgot. Yeah, he didn't play. But yeah, Romero, I think we're going to stick with him. He obviously got a rest on Thursday. He did play, obviously, 90 minutes against Palace, but I don't think he's going to go Dragoshin and Davis again. I think he's going to want at least one of the senior centre-backs, and obviously Romero is the vice-captain, so we're going to put Romero in there.
Now, remembering that Van de Ven didn't play, I actually do think Van de Ven will come in at left centre-back now, but we have gone for Dragoshin for argument's sake, but let's change it to Van de Ven if we can, because I think it will be Van de Ven at left centre-back.
But I think actually, I think it will be Dragoshin. I still think
you think he'll be Dragoshin?
I do still, because I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play the midweek games. He's going to want minutes. I actually thought his best game, one of his better games this year, was when he was with Romero against Newcastle.
Yeah.
And obviously, no Haaland would be a big benefit in this game if he doesn't play. I'm not sure if it looks like he's not going to play, but I think Dragoshin should be able to handle that, and we know he needs minutes in his legs. And obviously, I don't know do we want to play Romero and Van de Ven all 3 games this week?
Yes. We do.
I mean, we do, but will we? I don't know. I feel like he's going to keep Van de Ven on ice for the weekend. So I do think. Look, I think Dragoshin is going to be rotated in here.
I think both of them will be rested in the game against Galatasaray next week, so they'll get a full week's rest next week. I mean, look, we're acting like they're professional footballers. They can't play 3 games in a week. We've seen plenty of players play 3 games in a week and do it successfully.
I know, but Van de Ven, the way he plays, is just when you can give him a rest, I think you should. And I think I know it's City. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but can Dragoshin come in and do a job, especially without Haaland? I've got a feeling he might be able to.
All right, well, we're going to go for Dragoshin then. We're going to revert back to Dragoshin, even though I particularly want to see Van de Ven play in this game. But left back, we are going for Jed Spence back from injury. We don't know how long he's actually been training for. So, I mean, Ange said he's back in training, but he didn't say he's ready for selection, did he? Or he did? He
said he's back in training, so I assume that means he's available, but I guess he didn't confirm it. But he was asked about players who are out and injury news, and he said he spoke about Sonny, how he's nearly fit. He spoke about Odegaard being disappointing, but he said, yeah, Jed's back in training. So I assume that implies he's back. And obviously, if Spence doesn't play in this game, it's going to be very little opportunities to play. As well, Doggy did start in midweek against RZ. He did start on the weekend, 90 minutes. So I think it's a good opportunity to give him a rest. So I think Spence will come in.
Yeah.
I guess there's a chance maybe Gray goes the left back and we keep Pyro in, but I think I do think the Doggy gets a rest either way.
It just depends on the fitness of Spence. We know he's training. We just don't know how far along in his fitness he is. That's the reality. But we are going for...
I guess Davis could always play there, but we're going to go with Spence.
Yeah. In the number 6, we're going to go for Rodrigo Bentancur. Obviously, Basuma played in the last game. Bentancur played in Europe, so we think Bentancur will be back in for the midweek.
Yeah, and I don't think we have any problems putting him back in. I still generally think he's been pretty good this season, so I think he comes back in the 6 in what's going to be an interesting midfield battle.
Moving into the attacking positions in midfield, we are going to side with Decky in the number 8/ number 10 in this game.
Obviously, played, I think, 20 minutes against RZ, then played 60 minutes against Palace. So I think when it comes to physically, he should be available to start this game from the start. He's going to be a very important player for us as well. I know he didn't have the best game on the weekend, but hopefully he can put that right on this occasion. So we're going to put Decky in from the start.
Yeah, and he loves a game against City as well, doesn't he, Decky?
He does, especially the Etihad usually.
The Decky, please. Call it by its real name. And alongside them in midfield will be Pape Matar Sarr, who I think is just getting better and better throughout the season. I think we seem to say this every week with Pape, but I think he was one of the better players as well, even in a poor performance at the Selhurst Park. I thought he came on and did a really good job.
Yeah, and with the way City play, doesn't matter who they have, they're going to have a lot of good technical players, a lot of players with the ability to run and get forward. So I think we're going to need Sarr's legs in this one. Maddison as well, it's a good opportunity to give him a rest because he did start against RZ 70 minutes. Obviously only played an hour on the weekend.
And 45 at West Ham.
And 45, but that was the week before. I think, the last 2 games has just a couple of starts, so I think it's a good opportunity just to put him on the bench and then maybe bring him on if we need him.
All right, so that's the middle 3 of Bentancur, Decky and Pape. In the right-hand side of the attack, limited in options there, so it's got to be Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, it has to start. Did he start against RZ? No. Mikey Moore started on the right, and then he played 45. So he played 45 against RZ, 90 against Palace. But as you say, with Odegaard out, Son out, we're going to have to rely on him. So we're going to put Johnson on the right.
Moving into the number 9 position, Richarlison for me doesn't look completely fit as of yet, although he does need minutes, so I expect him to play some part in this game. So we are going to side with Dominic Solanke to start.
Yeah, he did get a decent rest on last week against AZ. Obviously, it was a very taxing game for him against Palace because he felt like he was the only one doing anything. But with Richarlison not looking up to speed, I know he needs minutes, but so with this being a big game, I think Solanke needs to start, so we're going to put him in from the start.
Yeah, but I have no doubt that he'll come in and start that game against Galatasaray next week, Richarlison.
Yeah, for sure.
And then to make up the final 11, it's going to be Turbo Timo. It's Timo time on the left-hand side. Son, a major doubt. Odebear out injured. And Mikey Moore, I really highly doubt he's going to play 3 games in the space of a week. So it's got to be Timo.
Yeah, look, and it's a chance for him to do better than he has done because we know how he struggled over the last few games. To be fair to him, I actually thought against Palace he did all right when he came on. Unfortunately, some of his deliveries, no one was on the end of him, but I actually thought some of his deliveries were quite good. So I'm not saying that got his confidence back, but I think hopefully he takes something out of that cameo and can bring it into this game.
We've heard about rumours. I mean, I know they're just rumours for now, from reports in Germany saying that Spurs are willing to let Timo go in January if a permanent offer comes in for him. With Odebear struggling for fitness, do you reckon they'll rethink that, if that was true?
Probably. Unless what they're thinking is if maybe with Odebear being fit, they're thinking just get rid of Timo, we can rely on more on Odebear. But if Odebear has got a serious injury, depending on how long he's out for, we might need to think about bringing someone in. Or, they might have to rethink it, because if we bring someone in, are you actually going to sign someone permanently when you've got Mikey Moore coming through and you've got Odebear there? Are you going to be looking for another loan deal anyway? And if
you do have Yang Min Hyuk coming in.
And Yang Min Hyuk as well. I think if Odebear's injury is serious, obviously it depends on Werner. If Werner continues the way he's been, which is not an unlikely prospect considering how his last few years have been, then I still probably think they just might as well rely on Yang Min Hyuk and just send him back. But if he shows some sort of improvement, obviously I think they have to rethink it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's run through that predicted lineup with you guys one more time. It's Vicario in goal, Archie Gray at right back, Jed Spence at left back, Romero and Dragoshin as the centre-back pairing, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pape Matar and Dejan Kulusevski in the middle three, with Brennan Johnson on the right, Timo Werner on the left, and Big Dom Solanke up top. And if we envisage the changes that Man City are going to make in this game, surely that team should be physically dominant over maybe a Man City team with a lot of changes.
Yeah, obviously it really depends how weak Man City are, but if Man City are going to play a lot of the younger players, we have to rely on the fact that we've got some very physical midfielders there. If we can win that midfield battle, make sure we have control of the game. Hopefully we can go some way to overwhelming a young Man City side a bit, but they still might, in the back line, they're still going to have potentially Ake, still going to potentially have John Stones, some very experienced tough players. So not saying it's going to be easy or it's we're destined to win, but hopefully we can get a little advantage there in terms of physicality.
All right, well, that is our predicted lineup going into the game tomorrow night. Massive game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.